Aloha nerds, and welcome back to another episode of the Salad Wogs Why It's Great Gut Reaction, where I watch things and react from the gut. Wow, why does Monster Hunter have a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes? You people really are ruined by Fast and the Furious, aren't you? You're just completely destroyed. Good God, Monster Hunter rocked. Monster Hunter is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who directed the 90s Mortal Kombat movie. Oh, right there. That's not a selling point for this movie, but I like it. I watched it again. I think it's better than the remake for sure. Oh, God. And then 30 people just stopped watching this podcast. Good for them. Now it's just us. Paul W.S. Anderson directed Event Horizon, which I still think is a pretty cool movie. Um, yeah, he's directed a lot of stuff. And he's sort of he keeps going. You know, his movies keep looking better and better. I think this one's his best. You know, Monster Hunter, I guess, is based off of a video game. I've never played it before. I'm not really a gamer. That's not my universe. But what I thought was cool is okay, so you got Mia Jovovich, who's the leader of this military crew, and it's essentially the Transformers beginning. Happy-go-lucky military crew on a mission gets sucked into a portal, and then they're thrown into a world full of monsters. Like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, I don't know if that's in the video game. But you know, it's a corny, odd, unusual setup. But once we're in it, and it's just Monster World, and you see the use of every level of weapon to take on these monsters, and how it actually does kind of feel like a video game where you keep shooting things at the monster, and you don't actually see the monster degrade in any kind of way, but somehow, like off camera, is the little health bar just sort of shrinking, which I think is hilarious about this movie. That it manages to both be a really cool movie, but also I think there is that PlayStation 2 video game aspect to fighting these monsters, because you just don't see the damage until the damage is done, which is hilarious. But it works. It totally works, because these things are supposed to be that powerful that they can withstand that many hits. And I think it's really cool seeing Mia Jovovich team up with Tony Jaa. Okay, action movie fans, if you are an action movie fan, you know who Tony Jaa is from the Ong Bak movies and The Protector. And that's all I've seen, unfortunately. But, you know, what I love about this guy is that, you know, the build up to him as the next great action star was totally justified and real. It just kind of didn't seem to happen that way for some reason. You know, there was the trailer building up to Ong Bak was, you know, Bruce Lee started it. Jackie Chan took it in a new direction. Jet Li took it to the next level. And now, Tony Jaa. And then I actually didn't see the movie that for like, you know, 7 years or something. Then I finally saw the movie. Like, oh shit, why isn't this guy a huge international star? I mean, he kind of is, but I mean, you know, he just what happened there? Why did you not have the Jet Li experience at least? You know, I was like, whoa. So seeing Tony Jaa appear in this movie is awesome. I recognize the actor. You know, what's cool is this movie, it puts all its dialogue up front with the introduction of the military crew, but it really is a movie that's like 2 hours of how do you kill these big ass monsters. You know, it's just surviving that and making it feel real, and it's just the sheer experience of how the fuck do you fight these big ass things. I thought that was really fun. It's just a straightforward movie. Once we're on Monsterland, once we're on Monster Hunter World Planet, you're just in it, and you're trying to survive day by day. And I thought that, well, what a cool way to do a movie. I'm not having some plot where, you know, there's epic king whose monsters are going to take over the world, and blah blah blah, and we're going to exploit the teleportation avenue. You know, none of that. No, you know, it really is just these Mia Jovovich and mega spoilers here. Mia Jovovich's whole crew gets wiped out in the first 10 minutes of the movie. It's like, whoa, holy shit. But it also shows you just how much it takes to survive. It's the Predator. That's the Predator. It's the Predator in 10 minutes because these things are so violent. It's the Predator in 10 minutes. It's great. But having her team up with Tony Jaa, which is a reveal, that takes time in the movie to get to that place. You know, that gives you just enough time to care about these people before they're all taken out really quickly, and it's cool. It's also a little short-handed Hobbit. Like there's just the scary, violent stuff that happens in the Hobbit that, you know, could have been deleted scenes. Makes sense in this movie because it's a movie about a handful of humans that are capable of surviving, taking on these gigantic monsters that are bigger than, you know, it's the reverse world where the critters and the small bugs on our planet are actually to scale much bigger than us, and we have to find some way to get them. So it's really, it's cool. It's a cool action movie. There's such great action sequence. Tony Jaa, by the way, has a big ass sword. So anime fans, you're totally in for fun because when Tony Jaa pulls out that big ass sword, it is straight up. I'm having like Final Fantasy sort of flashbacks, but at the same time, I am just like, holy shit, yeah, that's the sword you need to kill some monsters with, and that sequence where that sword is used on the Diablo monster is awesome. I mean, there's this big, you know, what's cool is the trailer doesn't spoil it too much, or at least the first trailer didn't. I don't watch trailers anymore because you bastards just spoil everything. I hate trailer, whether it's the studio asking for it or you damn editors, whoever's responsible for this, how the way trailers are made, cut it the fuck out. My goddamn. So I just watched the teaser trailer where I didn't know what was going on, but when you see this big four-legged thing with giant horns, and it's like a bull but a bug at the same time somehow, charging at Mia Jovovich, and then Tony Jaa jumps down with a gigantic sword and tries to stab it in the head. That was a great sequence. There's so many cool things like that. But like I said, the coolest part of the movie is how straightforward it is. There's no traditional A plot and B plot with this movie, which normally I just annoys the hell out of me. Because they're usually not that interesting, and they're done with the idea that somehow this B plot makes the movie more interesting or fills out something the audience would be curious about. And most of the time it's just useless crap, and it's like nice to see a good actor, but you know, okay, nothing else actually happened. So the beautiful thing is like that is whittled out. You know, you're just getting the straightforward experience of the squad showing up on Monster World, and everything that happens just in order. No flashbacks to before and what we used to be like. You know, no parallel storyline where Mia Jovovich goes one way and the squad goes the other way, and you kind of hear them talking about their lives as if somehow that's important. Everyone's just in the situation. They're talking about what they're worried about, and you get little hints and nods at things they're interested in and care about, but it's not big enough to distract from the fact that we're in the situation. I think that's the biggest Hollywood crap of all time. Something that, you know, every filmmaker struggles with. How much do I say in a given scene? And what's cool, the movie gets to a point of saying nothing at all. Because once, again, mega spoilers, once that squad's taken out, and it's Mia Jovovich and Tony Jaa, this is as close as we get to a B plot line, is as Mia Jovovich and her team appears on Monster World, Tony Jaa's a native of Monster World, or as far as we can assume. He's been here for some time. And he's just, you know, he's in this gear suited for the world he's in, and he's got his weapons. and it kind of gives you an Apocalypto vibe, which I thought was cool. This movie's literally like Apocalypto meets Mad Max Fury Road, and somehow they're just one movie. You know, there's another movie, Apocalypto, that just moves straight forward, just watching what a character is going through, and it's interesting. It's not cutting back and forth between an A and B plot. You're just seeing the world as the character watches it and experiences it, which is just, it's smooth. If it worked for Forrest Gump, then it can work for Monster Hunter. Wow, that's a big comparison. They're all movies, okay, bro? It doesn't matter whether you actually respect one or the other. They're all movies. You throw them away at some point. But until you do, this is what's going on, bro. It's good. I mean, damn, this is a good movie. Like Predator, you're just following, you know, in Predator, you're just following Arnold with his crew. There's no separate crew, there's no cutaway. It's Arnold and his team, 5 people dealing with one situation. And you watch the team get whittled down to Arnold. And this movie does that in what feels like 10 minutes. You know, it's awesome. But then it's all about Mia Jovovich and Tony Jaa, who don't speak the same language. There's not a movie where you show up on another planet and they speak English. He's human, or human enough, but he speaks an alien language and has no idea what this woman's saying. And so they're because they have no means of communication, and actually, he's looking out for them and following them and trying to help them when monsters attack them, but they don't know it because he's so far away. You know, he's an expert arrow guy, spoiler alert. All this happens in the movie, but it's just visual. But when, it's finally down to Mia Jovovich and Tony Jaa, they don't trust each other right away. So he ties her up. He's like, nah, I feel like you might still try to kill me. So you're going to stay tied up, and you just stay over there. And so, feeling like a kidnap victim, Mia Jovovich immediately does everything she can to escape. And all of their conversations are fighting. It's fantastic. I think it's really funny and clever. Like, wow, that's brilliant. Because I haven't done it yet, but I'm working on a new series. I'm going to bring back Why It's Great, my original podcast, Why It's Great, which those first 15 episodes you don't have to watch. They're terrible, but I'll make reference to them. And I'm going to do a series on action movies, storytelling through action, or storytelling through action, based on whichever way it works on the screen. And this is like literally storytelling through action, because these characters can't speak the same language, and because they're both warriors, and because of how intense the situation is, that he doesn't trust her not to attempt to kill him while he's sleeping, and is tying her up, and she thinks something else is happening. They're both duking it out, and that's the way they communicate. And again, spoiler here. It's really funny that that the only way they communicate that one another is a good person is that their fight. They have Tony Jaa has his own little hideout where he hides from the monsters, because there's all different kinds that do different things to come and kill you. And so he's got his perfect little hideout, but their fight knocks them out of the hideout, and one of the monsters tries to get one of them, and they both kind of have a moment of realizing that they're not each other's enemy, and kind of one of them saves the other. And that moment makes them both realize what they're both here for, and they're not actually here to hurt each other. And but they don't. There's no language, so they have to kind of communicate through the only language they know that's universal between the two of them, this fighting. But what are we fighting for? Are we trying to kill each other? Or are we trying to kill these things? And they kind of make that decision, and it just happens visually with them trying to, in an animated fashion, communicate with each other. But it doesn't feel too animated. It feels right for what's supposed to be going on. I thought really well made, really well made, written for the screen, and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. I think this is his best movie. I think Pompeii was a really good stab at just trying to tell a really straightforward movie with as little cheese as possible. Still a cheesy movie. You know, it's nacho cheese, baby. But it's okay, you know, and some parts of it feel familiar to movies we may know, but whatever, you know, whatever. It's cool that, you know, it's a feels like a lived-in world, and it feels appropriate. I'm not a historian, but it feels appropriate. But then with Monster Hunter, I'm like, okay, now this is clean, this is good, and the cinematography and the shots and the locations are epic. I mean, this movie works on an epic scale, but also works as a cinematic uh, telling of a video game styled story. Where in the movie you worry about how do you sleep at night, and in the video game, I'm sure you just get to a save point, and you know, okay, we slept, and now we're back to video game. I mean, I'm not sure if that's how the video game worked, but that is typically how they worked back when this original game came out. That PlayStation 2 save point is sleeping for your characters. You have a sense of reality. But you know, yeah, just fucking cool, and what a good time. The action is so good. The action is so good. You know, and to show every, you know, what I think the benefit of having the military be the introduction, the way we see this world, is that just as a regular audience member, at least, you can say, well, how the hell, you know, if I fought this monster, I bet with a rocket I could blow it up. How am I supposed to, you know, take it out with these little giant swords and stuff, and you have to get all up close to kill them and everything. But yeah, this movie shows, like, right up front, okay, like, yeah, it sounds like it would work, but that's not the rules of this world. So it just kind of gets that lingering question. Kind of like Avengers Infinity War, where it just gets the Hulk versus Thanos fight out of the way right away. It just kind of answers a question that you would kind of have sitting on you if you tried to approach this movie maybe more traditionally, if you wanted to just in the world or whatever. But I think it was kind of cool. Like, it was like, okay, I get to see a wide range of what it would take to take down these things, because they're built this way. There's rules to the world, and by the movie's own rules, you have to win. And I appreciate that the movie at no point just found, oh, I have a mini nuke, this will solve all our problems. Oh, we have 6 more in a case. Wow, happy ending. All the monsters are done. Or, you know, oh wow, the full might of the U.S. military just flew through the portal and they've mastered it, and now we can all go home and it's all perfect. You know what I mean? I mean, there is the Tron storyline of trying to get to the portal again and go back home, but that's okay. You know, I feel like because it adheres to the rules of how do you conquer the monster with whatever you have, because it adheres to that from beginning to end, I think it's a solid movie. I think it's a really good time. And the fact that, again, like Apocalypto or Predator, just a straightforward story with no nonsense, and you know, at some point there's no dialogue, and you're just watching two people kind of interact with each other in a funny kind of way, and movies just don't do that anymore. It's very old school in that sense, so you can just watch the movie because it's a visual medium and appreciate what's going on and understand what's going on, and the actions telling part of the story. Like I said, violence is the way Tony Jaa and Milla Jovovich communicate, and that's part of the storytelling. I'm gonna get into action. When you watch storytelling through action, I think hopefully you'll see action movies the way I see action movies, which is the action is not just there to look cool and have flips and all stunts. I think movies, especially in the 90s, whenever it cuts to that stunt angle, and it's clearly the stunt angle, it's boring, it's bland, no story is being told. It's just there to show the guy do a flip and have smoke around him. You know, it takes me out of the movie. I'm like, that's not interesting to me. That's not, you know, movies that settle for that over and over and over again, especially in the 90s and 2000s, whereas like the stunt person was in control of the shot. You know, as director, when you're making a movie, if you want to make a really good action movie, even the stunt shot should feel cinematic and should feel consistent with the language. And the fact that we have all these epic shots like Tony Jaa coming down with a gigantic sword and all that stuff, that was crazy. That was cool. It all looks good, and it all looks like one major action scene. It looks like the actors are doing it, even though there's no way it has to be a CGI thing. And and he's probably in reality on like a big green box or something like that, but it feels great. It looks like it's legitimately happening. It's cool that effects are this far, so hats off to the visual effects and all of that being so far along, and really just good storytelling. I appreciate this movie being so simple and straightforward. I don't do a lot of newer movies on this show, and even when they are new, I react way later to it. I want the hype to be down. I just want to see it clearly, with forgetting whatever people talked about or whatever. I mean, I just want to see it clearly with no clutter in my mind about it, so I can just judge the movie for how the movie is by itself, and try not to worry about my prejudices or whatever. So this movie, I think, really, really good flick. Really great time. I'd say a great movie. Like, man, I do think this is Paul W.S. Anderson's best. And Milla Jovovich, seeing her as an action hero, always fun. Always fun. Even if I did not appreciate a couple of the Resident Evil movies, it's still cool that she's still kicking ass right now and doing awesome action stuff. And this, to me, is her best action movie role. This truly is her Predator, I think. This is Milla Jovovich's Predator. I mean, she already has Fifth Element, you know what I mean? I haven't seen Joan of Arc. I'm sure she's great in that. But this is Milla Jovovich's Predator for sure. I think this is a good flick. So that's me recommending Monster Hunter. Hopefully that was not too spoilery for you. Ron Perlman pops up in this movie. Frickin' Hellboy's in this movie. That's cool. There's boats on sand. So if you like Pirates of the Caribbean 3, boats on sand is a cool visual. And it's kind of, this movie is just full of just great visuals and smooth storytelling. It's like a really smooth beer, while both playing and watching a soccer game or something. You know what I mean? You're just like, okay, I just ran around. I'm gonna stop for a second. Have a nice, smooth beer. There we go. Oh, am I gonna play again? I'll have one more beer. Okay, back to playing. That's what the movie feels like. It feels like the literal experience of that. Just having lots of fun while being kind of thrown around a lot. So really good time. Hats off to the whole team. Really great flick. Check out Monster Hunter. This is a real action movie. This is what action movies don't do anymore, which is just deal with the fucking situation and stop yapping and trying to have some deep philosophical Walking Dead like moment. Like, good lord, if we get one more deep philosophical writer in Hollywood, I'm just gonna have to start watching YouTube 100% of the time. Thank you for your deep thoughts. Tell the fucking story. Thank you very much. Aloha, and I'll talk about the one in the next video.